I will really slowly take you by the hand to introduce you a new way of talking about the past. Really, we will go super slowly, little by little, because this is a topic that is usually misunderstood, and I want to make sure that you, with this course, you don't misunderstand it and you find it easier than everyone else. Okay? I cannot tell you how many students you see who believe they are like B1, B2 levels because they have followed a lot of classes, etc., etc. But when you really ask them, they don't really get this topic. So we go little by little. Ok. Regarde toutes les phrases ici. On goûte du fromage. Nous faisons du ski. Il fait un peu froid. Il y a beaucoup d'animaux. C'est magnifique. On visite une ferme. Est-ce que tu peux relier chaque phrase avec une image? C'est bon? On regarde. Donc, c'est magnifique. Waouh, c'est magnifique. I see something very beautiful. I say, waouh, c'est magnifique. Nous faisons du ski. So we are skiing. Okay. Il fait un peu froid. Oh, it's a little bit cold. Ouais. On visite une ferme. So we are visiting a farm. Il y a beaucoup d'animaux. There are a lot of animals. On goûte du fromage. So we are trying some cheese. Okay. These sentences, some of them, 3 of them, are talking about an action. Again, it's a way of speaking, but some of these sentences, something is happening. Some other sentences, 3 sentences, nothing is happening. There's no action. I'm just describing the situation. So these 6 sentences, can you find the 3 of them which are like actions where something is happening, we are doing something? Can you find the one where nothing is happening? C'est bon? Regarde. On goûte du fromage. Nous faisons du ski. On visite une ferme. In these 3 sentences, something is happening. I'm doing something. I'm eating cheese. I'm skiing. I'm visiting a farm. Something is happening. There's an action. But in these sentences, il fait un peu froid. It's a bit cold. There's no action. Nothing happens. It's more like a description of the situation. Like, okay, the weather is cold. Okay. Il y a beaucoup d'animaux. There are a lot of animals. Same. I'm just describing what I see. But there's no action. I'm not doing something. C'est magnifique. I'm just saying something is beautiful. Again, I'm not saying that I'm doing something. I'm just describing things. Okay? So this distinction should be okay. I think is easy. So we can classify them into 2 categories, like action et description, because these sentences, it's kind of like an action because something happens. And these ones are just descriptions of how things are, but nothing is happening, right? So these are descriptions. These are not official categories. Huh? This is just a way of speaking right now. Okay. These are all happening in the present, right? This is all the present tense. If I want to say that I did these things in the past, I want to transform these sentences in the past. What will I do? I will use passé composé, right? Okay. Can you pause the video here and transform these 3 sentences into passé composé? C'est bon? Should be very easy. I mean, we have put passé composé conjugation in almost every single homeworks for the last 3 units. So if you did the homeworks and everything seriously, this should be super easy, right? On a goûté du fromage, nous avons fait du ski, on a visité une ferme. And it's coherent to say this because I'm using passé composé to say that we did something in the past. We tried some cheese this morning, we skied, we did some ski yesterday, we have visited a farm 2 hours ago, etc. These are all things that we did in the past. But now the question is, what about these sentences? I cannot use passé composé, right? It just wouldn't make sense to use passé composé because passé composé is a tense that is used to say that something happened in the past. But these sentences, nothing is happening. These are just descriptions of how things are. So, il fait un peu froid, il y a beaucoup d'animaux, c'est magnifique. Can you find the way to say them in the past in the postcard from Sisa? Again, I'm looking for these sentences transformed in the past. Est-ce que tu peux trouver ici? C'est facile, hein? C'est facile. C'est bon? Donc bien sûr, il y avait beaucoup d'animaux, il faisait un peu froid, c'était magnifique. Ok? Très bien. And so, this way of speaking, this kind of conjugation, have a name, it has a name, it is called l'imparfait, which literally means something that's not perfect, like imperfect, which is not a good name because this tense is super easy, as you will see. C'est bon? So just now, we have introduced a new conjugation tense. Okay? This conjugation tense that we call l'imparfait and its relation to passé composé, we will talk about it in great detail in the A2 level, in the A2 course. This will be almost the number one main topic of the A2 course. It is usually very difficult, but for you, because you are a serious student following these lessons seriously, and because I'm giving you a lot of explanations and everything, for you, it will be easier than for everyone else. Okay? I hope. Normally it should be. Because usually most courses, people who study by themselves don't understand how much time they should take to understand the logic behind it. And this will be the main topic of the A2 level. But for today, I want to review a few verbs, 3 verbs, that's it. Être, avoir, faire, that's it. And the logic, because if you get the logic, you get 90% of the work is done. Ok? Alors, ok. On peut prendre une petite pause, 5 minutes, tu peux te reposer. Ok? Boire un deuxième café, aller aux toilettes, boire un peu d'eau aussi. Et si c'est bon, on continue. Donc, l'imparfait. First of all, what is l'imparfait? It is a conjugation tense. If I take a verb, comme par exemple faire, you know le présent, je fais, tu fais, il fait, etc. You know passé composé, j'ai fait, tu as fait, il a fait. Well, imparfait is another tense, this one. So it's a way to conjugate verbs. It's a conjugation tense. Every single verb, you can conjugate it to imparfait. Okay? The conjugation is very, very easy. One tricky thing about French, it's super tricky and it's super inconvenient, is that passé composé is the first tense that you learn because it's extremely useful. We use it all the time. But at the same time, passé composé is the most difficult conjugation. All the other conjugations you see here are super easy. Imparfait is literally easier than présent. Because even in présent, you have the 3 groups of verbs. In imparfait, it doesn't even matter. In the future, it also doesn't even matter. Actually, most conjugations in French are super, super easy. But the most difficult ones are the ones you learn first. Okay? I'm talking about indicatif, because in the future we will move to subjunctif, which is a bit different. But for indicatif, imparfait is way more easy than présent, to be honest, and passé composé. So don't worry, the conjugation is super easy. Because the thing of imparfait is that regardless of the group of the verb, premier groupe, deuxième groupe, troisième groupe, the endings are the same for all the verbs, no exception, zero exception. So here are the endings. AIS, AIS, AIT, IONS, IEZ, AIENT. Par exemple, le verbe être, j'étais, est-ce que tu peux conjuguer pour les autres personnes? C'est bon? Tu peux écrire sur ton cahier. Donc, toujours les mêmes terminaisons. Hein? Donc, j'étais, tu étais, il était, nous étions, nous étions, vous étiez, vous étiez, elles étaient. Très bien. By the way, you can see that était, the pronunciation is the same. Par exemple, just an example, quand j'étais petit, Bah oui, we said that imparfait is the tense we use to describe how things were in the past. But nothing is happening, there is no action. So when I say, for example, quand j'étais petit, when I was a kid, when I was young, when I say the sentence, when I was young, there's no action, nothing is happening. I'm just describing when I was young, it's a description. This is why I use imparfait and not passé composé. Un autre. Avoir, j'avais. Alors vas-y, tu peux écrire. C'est bon? On regarde. J'avais, tu avais, elle avait, nous avions, vous aviez, ils avaient. Toujours pareil. Par exemple, quand j'étais petit, j'avais un chien. When I was a kid, I had a dog. Same. I'm not saying, like here, the passé composé vibe would be this morning I bought a dog, like I did something. Or this morning I saw a dog. But here, imparfait, nothing is happening. This is diffuse in time in the past. When I was young, I had a dog. This is a description of the past, right? Et le troisième verbe, faire, je faisais, be careful, the first part is pronounced as e, je faisais, vas-y, tu faisais, on faisait, nous faisions, vous faisiez, il faisait. Toujours pareil, toujours pareil. Par exemple, aujourd'hui, il pleut. Hier, il faisait beau. I'm describing how the weather was yesterday. Yesterday, yeah, it was beautiful. Just a description. Hier, il faisait beau. Nothing happens. Ok? Très bien. So, these three verbs that we have seen just now are what we call impersonal, because when I say c'est comme c'est magnifique, c'est super, c'est génial, ou bien il y a du monde, il y a des animaux, il y a du soleil, il fait chaud, il fait froid, il fait beau, etc. These are all impersonal verbs. They have no sujet. They don't have a sujet. These are way of speaking. Okay? So I want to focus on these 3 conjugations for today. This is as far as we will go for imparfait for today. And believe me, it's already, if you get this today, you are like really one step ahead. Like it's really great, honestly. C'était, il y avait, il faisait. Why do we learn these 3 before? Because you will see them all the time. They are super common to be used in description context. Okay? Par exemple ici, est-ce que tu peux transformer les phrases? Aujourd'hui, il fait beau. Hier, il y a beaucoup de touristes. Hier, je suis allé à Paris. C'est bon? Bon, évidemment. Hein. Aujourd'hui, il fait beau. Hier, il faisait mauvais. Par exemple, de la pluie, des nuages. Je suis à Paris. Il y a beaucoup de touristes. Je suis allé à Paris. Il y avait beaucoup de touristes. Aujourd'hui, il y a du soleil. Hier, il y avait des nuages. Nous sommes au cinéma, c'est génial. Nous sommes allés au cinéma, c'était génial. Aujourd'hui, il fait chaud. Hier, il faisait froid. Aujourd'hui, c'est animé. Hier, c'était calme. Ok ? Ce sont toutes des phrases de description dans le passé. Je décris le passé.